Hey YouTubers, it's Steve again, coming from Rescape, my YouTube channel that seeks to aid and benefit people by helping them be more informed about their fundamental perception of reality. And there's glow! And then how understanding what your fundamental perception of reality is, how that then allows you to change and alter it at your leisure to increase or decrease the value you have or the quality of you have in your relationships and the freedom you have in life, and then what you give yourself permission to do or be, and then how when large groups of people can come together with more tuned fundamental perception of reality with truth or what's actually there, how that then gives them the liberty to alter the course of human history. Today is going to be a continuation of last week, which was on effortlessness, or the application of effortlessness. Last week I mentioned three things immediately that would indicate effortlessness as an application of living an effortless life. This video is going to be one of them. I said awareness, how you can choose whether or not you pay attention to something, or how much attention you give to something or multiple things. But awareness just by itself is just the default assumption of being a conscious sentient life form. When I talk about awareness, there's two kinds of awareness. Well, I'm splitting awareness into two categories, which goes against with what I'm about to describe. So that's pretty funny. But okay, so in my two categories of awareness, sorry, glow keeps bothering me, is there you have observation and you have I guess I want to call estimation. It's more like a judgment, or if you make a judgment call. When you look at something, like I've actually pre-gotten, like this was on my desk, it's a piece of tape. I can say it's black, it's round, but on the side it's an edge, so it's like cylindrical. It's got a rubbery feel to it. Now these are all observations because they just are there. It's just what's there. Now what a judgment would be if I did this and say it's light, or it's small, like it's not a big tire wheel, but it's small. Judgments are usually based off comparison. Now, when you pick this up and you say it's small, what people usually, when they're making judgments, don't realize they're doing at the time, but there's actually something else going on in their mind that they're then comparing this to. So if I were to look at this and say it's small, I'm actually not observing it at that point in time, because at least part of my mind is on an idea of something that's like it, that is larger than it is. So the Tao Te Ching talks about this, about how like being short leads into being tall, and knowing good allows evil, and things like that. When you make a judgment call, like let's say you can have a man, but now he's a rich man. Well, what you're doing there is you're comparing him to other people in the human species that don't have as much wealth as him. If you made an observation of a rich man, what you would then come to was he's a man that has wealth. Like he holds even if you say a large amount of wealth, that can still be a comparison. But if you say he's a man that holds wealth, and then people are like, yeah, he's rich, he obviously holds wealth. But the difference between the people saying he's a rich man and then you making the observation that he holds wealth is that your mind's completely focused on him. It's not going to other people. If you say he's a rich man, you're not focused on the man anymore. You're focusing on him and other people, and you're not fully present with him. So what you have to understand about awareness, to be aware, the effortless kind of awareness, when I say awareness being the default state of human being, the effortless kind of awareness is the awareness that's the observational awareness. You'll hear, if you ever hear about people talking about practicing mindfulness, that's what this is. It's basically that you're with something, and it's just that thing, and then whatever observations you make of it, it's just because they're there, just because they're there. So, and the reason that the judgment part, which again isn't a bad thing, but the reason the judgment part isn't part of the effortless awareness is because it takes effort to judge something. So if you want to split it up into mind, body, spirit, the spirit is the observer, and then the mind is the judger. So whenever you make comparisons or judgments, or try to plan things and see how different things work out to each other, like all these things are set up by the mind. One of the reasons that we overstimulate children's minds is because when they become adults, they no longer make the observations, they make the judgments, whatever judgments those may be, to the extent that when I first started my journey, I was actually having to retrain my mind to be still. Like, you think that you're observing things, but in actuality, if you once you become a point where you can maintain a general state of observation, and you just maintain that and start having conversations with people, what you'll find is most people are incoherent. And it's not the case for small children, but sometimes somewhere between when children, are born and then when they're 11 or 12 years old, sometime right before they hit puberty, um, they no longer have that. Everything they see is a judgment of something they've seen before. So that's kind of sad, but that's the state you're in. And all those judgments are efforts being placed by the mind, blocking out spirit expression that can then lead to a better life of effortlessness, like I was putting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just check my previous 2 videos out. The mind is a tool, and it is, I believe, designed to make judgments, but when you can't turn it off, and when you think that the judgment making part of the mind tool that you have is you as your observing spirit, is the mind making judgments, that is not true. And for as long as you believe that, or you exist in that and don't know any different, you will be under mind control for I'm not going to say who it is or what it is. It could be different things. It could be just random, but you'll be making judgments that aren't your judgments and living in a reality that's not your reality that was placed on you. So it's important to live an effortless life. You have to have the effortlessness of awareness. In order to do that, you have to have a mind that can be still so your spirit can make observations. This isn't hard to do. It's just something that has to be pointed out to you. So now that I've pointed out to you, see how long you can maintain it. Like really just pick up like a pencil or something, just look at it and just make different observations on it and see how long you can take. If you look at that pencil, I know when I first started, like I looked at it and I could hold it for like 2 or 3 seconds and then I would glaze over. You know that look when you talk to people and then they don't really, and then they're not listening to you anymore, but they're kind of like nodding their head and they're looking at you because they don't want to be impolite, but you can tell, you can see that glazed look in their eyes. That's the glazed look that you'll have when you start observing things, because you don't, and when I say you, I'm just assuming whoever's watching this is just a normal person. If you're like if you have like, years of meditation under your belt or whatever, this may not apply to you, but you'll know what I'm talking about, just, having done that. But yeah, if you're just a typical guy, whatever, or someone who doesn't know about this and now it's hearing what I'm saying, and you start doing this, like you literally like try to maintain a still mind for just more than a couple moments, and you'll realize how bad of a situation we're in, and it's really got to change. Like if you want to live a life of effortlessness, that you have to have control over the mind tool to be able to do these things, and then you make the judgments, and you judge your reality, and you set it up the way you want, and not how someone set it up for you. So this is Steve. I don't know what I'm going to title this. Effortlessness, awareness. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to do, this week's going to be awareness. Next week's going to be on desire. Third week's going to be on breath. And then I may do one on stillness, relaxation. Those are the ones that I mentioned. I'm sure there are others. You can just, knowing what I'm talking about now, you can probably think of a bunch on your own. And tensing them is not a bad thing. If you want to exert effort, by all means exert effort, because eventually if you're like, oh, I can't exert effort, well, now you're exerting effort to not exert effort, so you can't even do that. So you have to have, it's about being in control of yourself, and like if you exert effort, it's because you want to and you know you're doing that, and then that becomes effortlessness. Anyway, okay, Steve, Rescape, don't know what week it is, post in the comments if you have any questions. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks, bye.